Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about our study, namely the emotional impacts of generative AI, negative emotions, and perception of fright. It uses quantitative design through survey for the collection and measurement of data. My presentation comprises of real and rationale, participants and methodology, as well as discussion and conclusion. Our research objective stress on the emotional impacts of generative AI because people rely heavily on AI tools and their daily life inundated with AI technology. Then our research questions were 1. How do generative AI tools trigger negative emotions in individuals? 2. Does exposure to AI-generated content types elicit negative emotions, in turn extending fright perception to AI technology in general? 3. Do negative emotions lead to symbolic and realistic fright perceptions? And then our goals of the study were to verify if generative AI technology capabilities can elicit negative emotions and foster the perception of AI technology as a threat, and to inform policymakers and developers to minimize adverse effects and promote responsible AI usage and address emotional concerns. To answer our questions, we reviewed a series of literature. The previous study stated that introducing AI tools may result in unexpected consequences, and apps that have human-like cognitive abilities, particularly ChatGPT, may pose a possible threat in several areas of human activities, including education, cybersecurity, content creation, and scientific research. Winter 2023. And then there were several rationale for the study, such as algorithm aversion to AI could be interpreted in terms of in-group bias that would emerge from the comparison between the in-group and the out-group, Morwich 2022, and social identity theory posits that individuals are motivated to perceive their group as different from others and exhibit self-protective biases touched by 1974, etc. When it comes to the hypothesis, based on the intensive literature review, we propose our hypothesis 1. This specific AI exemplar could be viewed as a member of a frightening outgroup, thus eliciting a negative emotional evaluation, which could extend to all AI-based technologies. 2. Such negative affective appraisal could extend the perception of both realistic and symbolic threats to AI technologies as a whole. Okay, let's move to part 2, participants and methodology. First, look at the overview of our methodology. This study used a socio-psychological methodology. This is a quantitative methodology and designed 3 different studies to test the validity of its hypothesis by quantitatively analyzing and discussing data from a sample of 410 participants collected through the online survey. When it comes to the participants, we used a slow bore sampling technique to recruit participants through social media and instant messaging systems by sending a link to the web survey and asking them to forward the link to their contacts. Then they were randomly assigned to one of the two experimental conditions. And the final sample of participants were 410 in total. Let's look at our procedures. We divided the survey procedure into 4 steps. Step 1, after getting participants' informed consent, they were presented with a set of items to measure socio-demographic variables like age, gender, level of education. For example, in study 1, they were 37 men and 85 women, and their average age was about 44, and we can say that there is a wide distribution of participants' education levels ranging from 10.7% middle school diploma to 2.5% PhDs. Step 2, the survey data were sequentially connected and measured using variable scales. When using the scale to measure participants' level of familiarity and knowledge with AI technologies, we ask the question like, how would you rate your level of familiarity with AI technology? How would you rate your knowledge of AI technologies? We used 1 for no experience and 5 for very experienced. Similarly, we used 1 for no knowledge and 5 for very good, right? So when it comes to the usage of AI technology, we asked the question such as, have you ever used generative AI agent like ChatGPT, Wi-Fi, DALL-E, and participants' attitudes towards AI technologies were tested through the survey question, such as, to what extent do you agree or disagree, like that, I think AI is dangerous, or I'm impressed by what AI can do, right? And similarly, we used the 1 for never, 5 for very often, 1 for strongly disagree, 7 for strongly agree. I think the survey questions seem clear, concise, understandable, and unbiased. So, step 3, we measure the degree of negative and positive emotions. In terms of the negative emotion, such as angry, fear, disgust, anxiety, and sadness, right? And the positive emotion like desire, happiness, joy, right? And let me tell you the difference between the 2 experimental conditions. For example, in study 1, the experimental group was presented with a text composed by ChatGPT. Well, the control group was presented with a general article on the same topics and of the equal length, written by a generalist, and they were informed about who had written the context and were asked to read it carefully, right? And then we tested the degree of participants' fright perception. For example, participants' realistic fright perception were tested through the survey questions, such as the increased use of AI in our daily life is causing more job losses for whom? And in terms of the symbolic fright, we asked questions like technological advancements in the area of AI are frightening to whom uniqueness. Similarly, we use 1 for strongly disagree and 7 for strongly agree. When it comes to the data collection, we use variable scales to measure negative emotions: angry, fear, disgust, anxiety, sadness, fright perception, realistic and symbolic fright, and control variables: familiarity with AI, attitudes towards AI, positive emotion. By adopting the scale proposed by Harm James 2016 and UG Swearing et al. 2016. And this entire process lasts from December 2022 through May 2023. Let's look at our data analysis. I have to say, it seems a little bit difficult to understand because we are not science person and a mathematics person. But we use a simple way to illustrate what we found. First, we used the analysis of variance to test the association, right? And a significant negative effect of the experimental condition was found. Correlation analysis showed that symbolic and realistic frights were highly correlated, right? And then we used mediation analysis to examine indirect effects of negative emotions on fright perception. For example, in study 1, the results highlights a significant indirect effect of the experimental condition on realistic fright through negative emotions. Okay? After data analysis, a number of findings emerged. Study 1, participants in the AI condition might have perceived ChatGPT as a representative member of the outgroup equipped with the cognitive abilities typical of human beings. Positive emotions negatively impacted realistic fright perception. Attitudes shows a strong association with fright perception. Study 2, finding of study 2 confirms the finding of study 1, even when participants were asked to evaluate a music track generated by an AI-based agent. Study 3 partially confirmed the finding of study 1 and 2, and the evaluation of images produced by an AI agent, this is DAO-E, foster higher level of negative emotions. But we need to notice that the results of study 3 were associated to the perception of identity. This is a symbolic fright, but not a realistic fright. Let's move to part 3. We did a comprehensive discussion on the results of 3 studies. 1. Results from 3 studies confirmed our hypotheses and predictions. 2. Participants who were exposed to textual content, images, and music generated by an AI agent reported higher level of negative emotions than participants in the respective control conditions. And negative emotions elicited by a single AI application significantly were linked to the higher perception of fright elicited by AI technologies in general. And then attitudes toward AI also proved to be a relevant predictor of fright perception. While we pointed out the limitation of the study, 1. Participants did not interact directly with the AI tools, but could only observe their output following a prompt entered by the researcher. 2. Participants were exposed only to one type of AI technologies. This is generative AI, and it could be that other types of AI would not produce the same effects. 3. The affective response and perception of AI-generated content may vary according to cultural difference. Finally, we give our conclusion at the end of our report. 1. With AI technology constantly developing, we will soon rely heavily on AI tools for our daily tasks. 2. AI technology can elicit negative emotions, which in turn would foster a greater perception of AI technology overall as a threat to human identities. 3. It's crucial that ethical guidelines and regulations are put in place to ensure that AI is used to improve human life and it not seen as a threat to society. 4. Policymakers and developers should consider these emotional impacts when designing and deploying AI technologies. Okay, please feel free to ask questions. I will answer it one by one. Right? That's my presentation, and I hope that you take away something about using survey to do quantitative research and that it works for you. All right. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my presentation. Bye.